Powerful people, including politicians, doctors, researchers, and educators, often have a lot to say about autistic people, but so much of what is said is negative, wrong, and harmful. This scares and hurts autistic people and the people that love them. At Autism Central, we'd like to change that.
I have some questions then, because I'm really confused about all this. Autistic people have something wrong with them. That's why it's called a condition or disorder, isn't it?
Autism is called a condition, but that doesn't mean someone is broken. It describes real differences in how people experience and respond to the world. The mistake is assuming those differences are faults, rather than part of human variation. And when we see difference as a fault, it's easy to start seeing it as something tragic.
But isn't being autistic a tragedy? People want a cure, don't they?
There isn't a cure for being autistic, because being autistic isn't an illness. What causes distress isn't someone's neurology, it's what happens around them. Sensory overload in a loud classroom, being misunderstood in a conversation, feeling isolated because the world doesn't seem to quite fit, being restrained or punished for trying to cope. If we call all of that autism, we stop being curious about what's really going on. The things that need changing aren't autistic people, it's the barriers, the stigma, the lack of understanding and support.
So if it's not an illness, is that why parents get blamed?
We need to question this idea that if something exists, someone must be to blame. For years, parents were blamed. First, it was refrigerator mothers, then vaccines, diets, screen time, medication in pregnancy. None of it is true. Autistic children are conceived the same way all children are. They're part of their families, shaped by their history, genetics, and human variation. That isn't something someone caused. If there's a failure here, it's making families feel guilty for something that was never wrong.
If it's just part of human variation, why do people talk about autistic people like they're all the same?
Because it's easier. When we put a label on something, people often imagine one fixed picture. But autistic people are as varied as any other group of humans. Autistic people exist in every culture, age, gender, and community. Some need significant daily support. Some live independently. Some are non-speaking. Some are very talkative. Those differences don't mean there are different types or levels of autism. They reflect individuality, life experience, co-occurring differences, and the barriers people face. Being autistic doesn't erase being a whole, complex human being.
I've heard autistic people don't have empathy or care about others. Is that true?
There have been myths about autistic people lacking empathy for decades. As we've learnt more, we've come to understand how wrong this idea is and why it's important to recognise that different people express care and empathy in different ways. Some autistic people feel deeply, sometimes so deeply that it's overwhelming, so they might need space when other people's feelings are too strong. Some autistic people show care by offering solutions or sharing something important to them as a gift rather than using comfort words. Those differences can be misunderstood as a lack of care, but they're just a different expression of connection. Are there autistic people who don't seem to care about others? Absolutely. Are there also non-autistic people who don't seem to care about others? Absolutely. Only one of those two groups is seen as a problem, though.
It's only children we're talking about, though, so people must grow out of being autistic.
The focus has always been on children. But that's a mistake. We have strong evidence that shows being autistic runs through generations of families. Autistic children grow into autistic adults. And like all humans, autistic children change. They learn, grow, and develop. That change was wrongly assumed to mean that they're grown out of being autistic instead of seen as natural human development. But who else is the same at 50 as they were at 5?
So much is wrong. Autistic people and their families are being made to feel awful. What can we do about this?
The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that most of the challenges autistic people face aren't because of being autistic, but because of myths, misunderstandings, and the way autistic people are treated because of them. We need to share accurate information and listen with open minds. At Autism Central, we believe change begins with curiosity. Every conversation, every question asked with care, helps create spaces where autistic people and their families feel seen, supported and understood. To keep being curious, you can join the conversation with us and have these conversations with others, such as families, friends, or with other professionals. You can share this animation, find links to further resources on this topic and more in the video description, or visit www.autismcentral.nhs.uk to learn more.